Tonight on Reel to Reel, we'll hear from the first Catholic-owned radio station in the southeastern United States.
Father Daniel Murray joins us from the pulpit.
Sister Carol Rittner studies courageous Christian acts during the Holocaust.
Dr. Richard Fitzgibbons and Mary Jane Brand have advice on relationships.
And we'll meet a Mother of the Year.
Hello, I'm Jane Rudolph.
And I'm Father Dave McAllen. Welcome to Reel to Reel.
Good evening. Tomorrow, December 8th, is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. This holy day commemorates that Mary was the only woman conceived free from original sin.
Mary's motherhood has become a model for mothers everywhere, and the celebration of motherhood is appropriate for this time of year. Our first story tonight is one in which we travel to Stevensville, Montana to meet Martha Burke. She was chosen Mother of the Year by the American Mothers Association. And after having 12 children, she's one who recognizes the importance of faith and prayer in family life.
When Martha Emily married Bill Burke, she thought she was too old to have children.
I had a cousin who was a Benedictine cloister nun at Clyde, Missouri. And I was 26, and I thought, oh, I'll probably never have any children. So I wrote to Sister Annunciata and asked her to pray that I'd have at least one.
Martha Burke was 46 when she gave birth to the youngest of her 12 children.
People would say in Butte, they'd say, oh, poor Mrs. Burke, are you having another one? And I'd say, don't call me poor Mrs. Burke. I'm rich Mrs. Burke. And I really think so. You know, I'd say mothers are in partnership with the Creator, which we are.
The Burkes were thrilled with each and every one of their children.
William Ignatius. I named him after the Jesuits. William Ignatius, William for his father. The next, Mary Bernadette. The next, John Patrick. The next, Catherine Ann. The next, Marcella Margaret. The next, James Martin. I don't want to forget any. The next, Dennis Robert. The next, Maurice Joseph. The next, Kevin Timothy. The next, Clarita Marie. Then came Danny and Daniel Damien, and then Maureen Veronica, the youngest. I think there's 12. I hope I didn't skip any. You know, sometimes I skip one and I feel just awful. Did that sound like 12 to you?
The family has since grown to include 20 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild, who often return home to Stevensville, Montana.
Look at her fingers. Oh, was they good, honey? Oh, the granny loves you so. The job of being a mother is never over, and you don't want it to be over. It's a perpetual commitment. And it's great, because the children now, if they have something wrong with their children, they'll call and say, Mom, what do you think's wrong with Jessica? And I diagnose over the phone, you know. And it's great to feel needed. It's great to feel needed. So we really want to be needed. And the older you get, the more important it is to feel needed. So it's great to be a mother. I recommend it.
Because of her views on motherhood and her many contributions to her community, the American Mothers Association chose Martha Burke as National Mother of the Year.
They didn't pick me because I had 12 children. You know, they just select you on community service, church service, and how your children have turned out.
By any measure, the Burke children have turned out very well. All 12 of them are successful college graduates, including 3 PhDs, a Rhodes Scholar, a CPA, and a lawyer. Martha Burke attributes much of her success as a mother to her strong faith.
We prayed more Hail Marys. I tell you, we prayed more Hail Marys. I said, the Blessed Mother must be getting tired of me. Say, please help me. I always knew the Lord would take care and that the Lord would provide. You know, we didn't have a lot of money. We lived in Butte, and every time the miners went on strike, my husband worked for the railroad, the mines railroad, and he would be out of a job. But We always knew the Lord took care, and He always did.
Her role as Mother of the Year has given Martha Burke the opportunity to voice her steadfast beliefs about the importance of motherhood and family.
If the family declines, the nation will decline, because the integrity of the nation depends upon family life. There's no doubt. We have to have good family life. Without it, we're lost.
Today is the second Sunday of Advent, a season of hope in the life of the church. Father Daniel Murray is up next to talk about two prophets, one who saw hope where the other saw tragedy. The readings present us with a challenge. Are you up to meeting that challenge?
Wolves and sheep will live together in peace, and leopards will lie down with young goats. Calves and lion cubs will feed together, and a little child will lead them. Isaiah doesn't expect too much, does he? One could easily get the impression that his vision is due to a state of ecstatic seizure. The wolf lie with the lamb, the leopard lie down with the young goat, the calf and the lion together, and a little child in their midst leading this harmonious symphony of opposites. It's preposterous, and so unreal that we say the prophet couldn't have been in his right mind when he wrote it down. Who could believe such a vision? It is fantasy, pure fantasy. If that is what we say on hearing this reading from Isaiah, then we are people of little faith. We do not yet appreciate that faith is more than assent to a creed or a doctrine. It involves vision also. John the Baptist's vision is not as hopeful. He sees tragedy. Governments are rapacious and morally bankrupt. Religious leaders live in defiance of the covenant. Many people are still guilty of injustice and corruption. John minced no words. Brood of vipers is the epithet he hurls at the Pharisees and at all who, like them, are superficial. He saw right through their false facades. Where Isaiah saw a vision of paradise, John saw a threshing floor. Isaiah saw a child leading the way. John saw a mighty one with a winnowing fan in his hand. Isaiah saw tranquil harmony. John saw fire and a purifying wind. Both prophets call us to conversion. We live in difficult times too. It's easy to become disenchanted. There are world powers that are still rapacious, whether national governments or multinational corporations. Everyone feels the economic crunch. Scandal and corruption still make their way into the church. Isaiah and John challenge us to prepare for the coming of Christ. This is no easy task. It's the work of a disciplined lifetime. We have to have the stomach for it. Advent is preparation time, a sacred time when we radically transform our lives, a time when we are called to see Isaiah's vision and hear the Baptist's call.
Thank you, Father. Jane, I don't know how many of our viewers know it, but the Immaculate Conception is the patroness of the United States.
Yes, she was officially declared patroness in 1846.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. A few weeks ago, we at Reel to Reel began an appeal for your financial support. Many of you responded generously, and we wholeheartedly thank you. Because of that, we're able to continue to bring you our show every week. However, we still need and appreciate your continued support. As you know, for the past 5 seasons, we've been able to bring you this weekly show, requesting only your cards and letters in return. If you're a new viewer, or if you've enjoyed the message of Reel to Reel over these past years, we'd like to thank you for watching and invite you to participate in this venture by actively supporting the show. Today, with costs rising all around us, we need your financial support. A donation of $5, $10, $20, or whatever you can send would help ensure the continued presence of this program. Send your contributions to Reel, 222 North 17th Street, room 907, Philadelphia, PA 19103, and thank you for your help. The Nazi atrocities of World War II silenced forever not only millions of Jews, gypsies, and other so-called undesirables, but also restrained the voices of those who might have otherwise spoken out against this injustice.
Many people risked their own lives to help protect those who probably would have died at the hands of the Nazis. Sister Carol Rittner has studied and taught the Holocaust for the past 20 years. Her involvement in a film entitled The Courage to Care chronicles the heroic acts of non-Jews during this dark period of history.
Odette Myers was 7 at the time of the Holocaust. In the documentary The Courage to Care, Myers tells her story of survival. She says she is alive today because of the courage of one woman, a Christian, the concierge in the building where her family lived.
About 5 o'clock in the morning, she ran up and yanked us out of bed and said, they're coming for you. And she drew us quickly into her apartment. If I had not been saved by this woman, I know precisely what my fate would have been. I would have ended up in the gas chamber at Birkenau.
The Courage to Care chronicles the courageous acts of non-Jews during the Nazi Holocaust. Jews who owe their survival to Christians and Gentiles who risked their lives for Jews look back beyond 40 years to one of history's darkest periods. But unlike most films of the Holocaust, The Courage to Care doesn't focus on the atrocities as much as it does on hope. Executive producer Sister Carol Rittner wouldn't have had it any other way.
Rob, I want two things to be clear in the film. First, I want it to be clear that it's a film about the Holocaust, about what happened to the Jews during the period 1933 to 1945. And second, I want it to be clear that one person can make a difference.
Sister Rittner, a member of the Religious Sisters of Mercy, has been studying and teaching about the Holocaust for 20 years. It's been more than an academic pursuit. It's been a personal journey in search of answers.
I kept thinking, how could this terrible event have happened in Europe within my lifetime? What happened to the Christians? Why didn't people help these Jews? And it's really that question of how could this have happened? How could the Holocaust have happened in Europe that had been Christian for 1,500 years that triggered my interest in trying to build bridges between Christians and Jews.
With the backing of the Holocaust Memorial Council, Rittner organized an international conference to focus attention on the rescuers of the Jews. But she wanted the message of the conference to live on. So she chose 2 Jews and 3 Gentiles and captured their stories on film and in a book. Stories told by people like Magda Trocme, a French woman credited with sheltering over 2,000 Jews during the Holocaust.
Sometimes people like you ask me, how did you take a decision? There was no decision to take. Are you thinking that we are all brothers or not?
This is a place where the church should be. The church should be with the people who have suffered in a way that helps us to help others not to suffer and to build bridges and to educate for a more humane future. People have said to me, do I see any connection between this film, what the people in this film did in helping Jews during the Holocaust? Do I see any connection between that and, let us say, for example, the sanctuary movement? What's happening in South Africa in regard to blacks? I said, absolutely, absolutely. I hear echoes.
The Courage to Care has won numerous film awards and was nominated for an Academy Award. But Sister Rittner isn't resting on her laurels. She and the Holocaust Memorial Council are planning yet another conference and film.
Mary Jane Brandt joins Dr. Richard Fitzgibbons next to talk about something you might have experienced but not be aware of: emotional abuse.
In our relationship segment tonight, they'll offer some advice on the subject and some possible solutions.
Do you feel emotionally controlled by another human being? Then you're a victim of emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is that kind of behavior that's designed to control you through fear and humiliation. The weapons that are used are words. It's almost like someone's taking a psychological hammer and they're hitting you in the knees with it, because emotionally it's just as crippling. In our practices now, we're seeing an awful lot of this, and it seems to be coming more from males to females, though not exclusively. Now, unfortunately, so many females have been programmed for a long time to put up with the most intolerable situations. They don't have to do it anymore, and you don't have to do it anymore. You deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Many people come from various backgrounds that are subjecting themselves now to this behavior. They've come from homes where there's been alcoholism or drug abuse, whether that's been illicit drugs or prescribed. They come from homes where there's sexual abuse. They come from homes where there's incest or battering. They come from broken homes. But why and how can somebody treat another human being in this manner?
There are many reasons why people are emotionally abusive. Some of those reasons are conscious and the person is aware of it, and for other people the reasons are unconscious and they're buried. For example, some people are very afraid of others. They can't trust, and therefore they're obsessed with controlling people. Other individuals feel very, very insecure, but you wouldn't know that to look at them because they wear this mask of superiority. These people regularly put other people down to build up their weak sense of themselves. Some people are emotionally abusive because they're very angry. At work, for example, they may be abused by others. Then they come home and act just like the person at work who's hurt them. Another major reason for emotional abuse is that these people are modeling after people who themselves were abusive, like a parent or a boss or some authority figure, and they're so angry with this person that they act just like them. And finally, a fifth reason, and perhaps one of the most major reasons today, is selfishness. There's an epidemic of selfishness in our society in which the person looks out only for number one and treats other people in a very insensitive and oftentimes cruel way.
If you're a victim of emotional abuse, here's what you can do. Make yourself the number one priority and don't let anything interfere with that. When the abusive behavior begins, say to your abuser, "In the past, I've allowed you to treat me this way. I want you to know that this is over," and leave the room. Or say, "When you calm down, we'll discuss this rationally." Or, "People who love me don't treat me this way," and then leave the room. Do not reinforce, please, that kind of behavior. It only gives them more power to do it again and again to you. Also, consider reading up on everything about this issue that made you susceptible to this kind of treatment from someone else. You don't have to have this happen to you anymore. I feel really encouraged. I see people changing this terrible prison that they've lived in for so long and being freed of it. One of the ways they do it is that they stop taking the abuse by taking no more responsibility for the other person's behavior. They look to themselves. You can't change the other person. You can only change yourself. Families are being freed up from this kind of thing. And you know, I feel really hopeful again when I think of how you can use the faith dimension of your life. Ask the Holy Spirit to come in and fill you up with power and courage to face the seriousness of this whole situation. You'll be freed. You'll feel wonderful.
Thank you both.
If you have any suggestions on topics for future shows, please share them with us. Have a pen and paper handy for our address at the end of the program.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The House of Charity can be found at work throughout South Jersey, wherever there is suffering and distress. Through its agencies, compassionate care goes to the elderly. The needy receive food and clothing. Special education programs administer to the mentally handicapped. Expectant mothers receive pre- and postnatal care, and medical services are rendered to the ill. Support the House of Charity in South Jersey. Touch someone's life with love.
When we hear the initials BVM, most of us think of the Blessed Virgin Mary.
But if you live in Florida and there's a W in front of them, you're tuned to 90.5 on the FM dial, listening to the first Catholic-owned radio station in the southeastern United States.
WBVM signals broadcast throughout a 4,000-mile radius around the Tampa-St. Petersburg area. Their goal is not only to reach the local Catholics, but also to unite the entire Christian community.
Salvific message.
The Church's aim in employing and sponsoring electronic media is linked to her mission of evangelization and of service to humanity. Through the media, the Church hopes to promote ever more effectively the uplifting message of the gospel. These words, spoken by Pope John Paul II, bring to light his commitment to outreach communications. The Vatican's use of media is extensive. In the United States, there are 2 television stations owned by the Catholic Church and 5 radio stations. The newest of these radio stations is on the Gulf Coast of Florida.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken.
Good morning, everyone. This is WBVM with our first day of broadcasting. And I've got some good friends here with me, and we are so glad to be on the air with you this morning.
WBVM, serving God and the Florida Central Gulf Coast 24 hours a day. 90.5 FM.
The world.
This past May, a special event took place in Tampa. A new PBS FM radio station signed on with the call letters WBVM. The BVM stands for Blessed Virgin Mary, and it is the first Catholic-owned radio station in the southeastern United States. They signed on complete with billboards, bumper stickers, and an amazing spirit. Bishop W. Thomas Larkin of the Diocese of St. Petersburg.
I think that the station will be received very well by the community at large. I think that we will be able to broaden our ecumenical relationships through the radio. Right now we have very fine relationships with the Greek Orthodox community, the Jewish community, and the various Protestant churches. And I think that we'll be able to expand this through our radio. We'll be inviting these people to come and to share with us on the radio.
2, 1, and 1. Starting up a radio station can be costly and time-consuming. It took WBVM 5 years from conception to birth. It was 5 years ago at the Institute for Religious Communications that Father Desmond Daly had the idea of a radio station for the church.
I initially thought, since I was assistant pastor at Christ the King in Tampa at the time, that we would start a low-powered radio station to serve the needs of our own parishioners. I looked into was that being done anywhere? And actually, it's not being done in too many places, low-powered radio. I quickly left that idea and decided, well, if we're going to apply for a license to broadcast on radio frequency, why not go all the way?
All the way meant several things, like gaining the transmitter strength to cover a large geographic area. This broadcast tower is 25 miles east of Tampa, is 1,440 feet high, and has an elevator to get you to the top. At the 950-foot level, WBVM's 100,000-watt signal is broadcast. With this signal power, WBVM covers almost 4,000 square miles around Tampa, St. Petersburg, and within this area is a potential audience of close to 2 million. General Manager Thomas Strzapolski is a radio professional who was raised in Florida and after gaining 22 years experience in other markets, wanted to come back home and help launch WBVM.
Well, the philosophy can probably wear several hats. First, as an educational non-commercial license, we are committed to those purposes of educational broadcasting, non-commercial broadcasting. The licensee will be the Diocese of St. Petersburg, so the mission of the church ties in with a philosophical approach to what we're going to do on the air. The spirit of collegiality in this market is incredible. We have had encouragement, advice, assistance, equipment donated from fellow broadcasters, neighboring broadcasters in this area. So we're not viewing competitiveness from the standpoint that we would if we were a commercial broadcaster trying to get our slice of the pie as such. Rather, we've examined the uniqueness of what we hope to do and what we hope to bring to this particular area.
Good morning, it's 6:04. You're listening to WBVM 90.5 FM, where the sun shines 24 hours a day. I'm Debbie Scarberry, and I'm so glad...
Program Director Debbie Scarberry, successful in commercial radio for 18 years, left the #1 contemporary music station in the U.S. to come address the challenge of Christian broadcasting.
I think our mission, of course, is to spread the word of the Lord and to spread the message of salvation, yes. I think we're approaching that in a little bit different manner than most Christian stations, in that we realize people are not one-faceted. People want entertainment. People want education. People want public service information. People want the message. So what we're trying to do is program all of that and have it be a nice, pleasant blend. You have to match your levels.
Okay.
Okay, match up your VU meters.
Working with Debbie Scarberry are over 50 volunteers of all ages and experience levels. Debbie and Tom realize that much of the success of WBVM rests in these dedicated people.
Perhaps I can get an interview with one of these people. Sir?
The format is crucial as well.
What is happening?
When you tune in a Christian or educational station, in the past, it's very difficult to know, unless you have the program guide right in front of you, what you're going to pick up when you turn on your radio. So we've tried to simplify it for the audience. We have 12 hours of music and 12 hours of talk in our 24-hour broadcast day. From 6 to 12, be it AM or PM, you can hear music. From 12 to 6, be it AM or PM, you can hear talk. So we've simplified it that way. Our music format, we feel, is very unique because there are an awful lot of people who would not tune in a, quote, Christian station, unquote. So what we're trying to do is make the message available to all people. We want to provide quality entertainment as well as our main mission, which is to spread the word.
All in all, we look upon it as a way of more effectively reaching our people and bringing them together and help them to understand that we are brothers and sisters of one another with God as our Father.
Here's an opportunity for us to be able to present the church with a Vatican II image, with a 1980 image or a 1980s image, and at the same time be able to extend a welcome mat.
We are WBVM 90.5 FM, where the sun shines 24 hours a day, and we're very excited about that.
We'd be very happy for you to be involved in the cause for Catholic communications.
You can do so by sending us your letters, comments, and suggestions.
The address is Reel to Reel, 222 North 17th Street, room 907, Philadelphia, PA 19103.
Or call us during business hours at 215-668-9842. Be sure to join us next week here in our Reel to Reel studio for a special edition of Crosstalk on the making of a saint. We'll see you then. Good night.
Good night, and be joyful, for Jesus is Lord.
Travel arrangements for Reel to Reel by Atkinson and Mullen Travel of Media, PA. Phone area 215-565-7070.
What can I tell you? Every Sunday you can become more aware of the world around you.
You'll discover what's new in the Catholic Church.
There's always something new. And Sister Marianne and I would like to share with you the triumph of Catholics in the area. The spirit of Vatican II is alive in you and in me.
Well, look at the Gospels. God's Word has always had the answers for your life's problems.
I'm Father Lee Forbes.
And I'm Sister Marianne Johnston.
Every Sunday on the radio, join us. Up on Air.
Sometimes it's difficult to get free at night.
And some people don't feel safe or comfortable going out after dark.
That's why we've begun a Thursday morning prayer meeting at St. Charles Seminary. That's right, every Thursday at 10 a.m. in the chapel.
So even if you're new, come on over. We have talks for you. For more information, call 668-HOPE. See you Thursday at 10 a.m.